Hi, I'm Siebrand Dijkstra, I'm the founder of DJ.Studio and I'm gonna show you why 2 decks is enough in DJ.Studio. I understand with live performance that you need 4 decks to do extra things and mix in a 3rd track or use samples from a 4th deck. Well, in DJ.Studio you don't. You have all the time in the world. Just like now, I have stopped the playhead, so there is no need to rush. Why do we have 2 decks? Well, we have a tempo lane. And the tempo lane is the tempo of the mix. And this tempo lane can be set manually to the tempo that you want the tracks to run. But if you set it to automatically, we will follow the tempo of the tracks that are in here. So here you see when I open the tempo lane, this track is 125, this track is 115, and this track is 125. So we will follow the tempo, and here in the transition you see we go up from 115 to 125. What if I would load the 3rd track actually in the 3rd deck? Well, the 3rd deck is a sample lane in DJ.Studio. We've got 3 sample lanes over here and we have a voice over lane. Any sample you put in there will sidechain on the master volume. So it will duck the frequencies in the master volume of that sample. So voiceovers will always sound perfect. Back to the sample lanes. So let's say I like this Boris Brejcha and I simply want to have this whole track and I want to have it on the 3rd deck. Well, select it as a block and then copy to sample lane and woohoo! Here is my track and I can put it on the sample lane and I can put it underneath track 1 and track 2. I can even right click and copy it again and have it on my deck 4 and for the people who love decks, and here I have it on my deck 5. So you see, you can simply play them all. Well, it's sounding off key and it's also sounding off beat. Off beat, what's going on? Well, let me show you. Let's get rid of these samples over here at first. This track in here is set to 115, but actually the track has a lot of groove. So let's say I'd like to have this beat. I love this beat and I'll copy it. Well, let's just copy the drums by not getting distracted by the key. And let's have a listen to these drums. A nice drum pattern. And what if this is my 3rd deck and I'd like to put the 3rd deck on my Soup for One? Well, Soup for One, this is recorded years ago and it's recorded live in the studio. Well, have a listen. What's happening with deck number 3, sample lane 1. It's completely off and I understand. Here, have a look at this beat grid, and when I move through the grid you see it's walking to the left, and the sample in the bottom, that one is very straight on the beat markers. That's because this is a new electronic track and this top one is recorded live. Well, we have a solution for it. If you go to the track you see that we use the fixed beat grid. Well, we could use the AI beat grid. And now you see what's going on. This drummer really had a rough night the night before he went into the studio. So he's going faster and slower and faster. And what we do with deck 3 and 4, your decks, for me sample lane 1, 2 and 3, we follow the master groove. And that's why we only have those 2 decks. So now let's follow the master groove in here and have a listen. Perfect. So you hardly hear it, but this drummer is now drumming in the tempo of Chic as they did it in the late 70s, early 80s. And this is just a drum track. Of course, I can select a big part of this track if you want to have it as the sample lane in here. And you hear? It's perfectly following the groove of the decks. So this is why we only have 2 decks. And by the way, how cool is it? This is Soup for One. What if I would start with Soup for One? Well, I go to the playlist, I'll bring it over here, and look what's happening. The samples are following. So your deck 3 and 4 are automatically following the master track where you wanted to make these edits. Here, let me go to the playlist in here, and I'll move Soup for One over here. And you see it's perfectly reordered, and the samples or the other decks are coming along. Well, and if you say, hey, but I have this Moon Dancer, I want to get rid of Moon Dancer, no problem at all. Select Moon Dancer, press delete. Are you sure? Yes, Moon Dancer is gone, and you see the Moon Dancer clip is still in here. So it doesn't need to be a sample, it can be a track as well. I hope this clears up some fog around the missing deck 3 and 4. Actually, you have deck 3, 4, 5 and 6 in DJ Studio. Enjoy!